All right, guys, and we are starting trading battle number 6. I'm so excited for this. What we're going to do is we're going to just go ahead and jump into this. We're going to be introducing our two traders who are going to be going head to head and fighting for charity, which is just the coolest thing ever. Our first contender, our first fighter in this battle is going to be Chris. Chris Pulver is somebody who has been on the channel for a while. And if you've never seen Chris before, he is, well, here's his note card. He's the founder and CIO of Streamwise Capital, senior analyst at Market Traders Institution, 20 years of experience in the markets, and he trades everything from stocks to FX to options. And I got to say, from a personal standpoint of knowing Chris, he specializes in volatility. So real quick, let's go ahead and introduce Chris Pulver.
Hey, Nick. How we doing, everybody? Happy trading battle. It's going to be a wild one. Let's go.
Chris, we turned the tides because last time you were the host, and now we flipped the script. I'm the host. You're the battler. And I want to get right into this. We got so much stuff to get into. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce our second guest. But before we do that, really quick, Chris, you are fighting today for your charity, Kitty Crusade. Tell us about Kitty Crusade. Why Kitty Crusade? Are you a cat dad?
I'm not a cat dad, but I went and saw, it's a local charity firsthand that I saw what they are doing. Things that I didn't know about. I mean, there's humane shelters and animal societies all over Salt Lake City, and I actually went to an event hosted by Kitty Crusade, and I had no idea that stray cats can have 20 litters over the course of a couple of years, and so controlling that population, and they have a dedicated team for properly trapping, releasing, feeding, caring, vet bills. I mean, they do amazing things. And so I'm not a cat dad, and I'd say I'm like 95% dog person, but seeing what they do firsthand, it's like they need all the help they can get, just like all these other animal shelters. So it's a great cause, and I was happy to be seeing what they do firsthand. So they're a great purpose for me to be trading for today.
Very cool. All right, so we've got our second contender here. We're going to be talking and bringing in Mr. Gary Fichardt, who has been on the show before. It's been a minute, so let's go ahead and we'll bring him in. But while we do that, let me just give you his scorecard as well. So Gary, in terms of past history on just the A1 Trading YouTube channel, he's been on here and hung out with us many times in the past. But here's a little bit about Gary. Gary is the founder and CEO of Traders Network Club. He has 30 plus years of market experience. He's been on our show many, many times. He specializes in everything from Fibonacci, candlesticks, wave patterns, and much more. And I'm very excited to have him back and say hello to my good friend, Gary. Hey, Gary, how are you?
I'm doing well, Chris and Nick. Appreciate you guys. Good to be here, and looking forward to this battle, man.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. And also, just to touch up on your charity, you've got Kitty Up Ranch. Tell me real quick, what's the choice behind Kitty Up Ranch? Why is that your charity that you're fighting for today?
Absolutely. This is actually very close to our heart because it's not only people that we care about, but of course it's family friends that we've got to know throughout the years, and we just love what they do for the special needs kids, and they have all these animals, specifically horses, and that they use to be able to do therapy with these special needs kids, and it's just wonders how. I love animals, but I tell you something, it's just amazing how animals change the sort of the personality in each of these children. So it's all for the good. So they're doing a great job. They're supporting the community with that as well. So we're pretty happy to support them.
Awesome. Well, guys, we've got a very exciting next hour or so here with Jerome Powell taking the stand about an hour and a half, but the federal funds decision coming out in just 54 minutes to go here. I want to go ahead and jump into the charts because we've got 3 challenges today. And remember, the rules are pretty simple. Whoever makes the most profit, that profit gets donated to charity. It's one of the coolest things on the YouTube, I would say, for traders. And you guys are in for a treat, audience, because, the trading battle brings in together talent from all over the world. And Chris and Gary are going to be some great people to listen and learn from. So let's go ahead and jump into it. You guys both have your charts loaded up. And before we jump into the first challenge, I just want to kind of reiterate again, we've got an environment where the question now is the Fed going to stay higher for longer? And are we going to see rates not go down this year? Or are they even going to talk about rate hikes, or is a rate cut still on kind of the table here for this year? Gary, I want to ask you first. Has this market for you in your trading, and feel free to we'll show your charts on the screen here for a second. What have you been watching? How have you been trading the markets here recently with all of the volatility?
You know what, Chris? I always say there's only one way to eat elephant, and not that everyone wants to eat elephant, but there's only one way to go ahead and eat piece by piece out of this market, and that is to chase after small profits. When I first started trading many years ago, and yes, I'm old, but when I started trading, it was good for long term trends. Now in today's market, there's so many news and so many factors that are being considered, and it's so difficult to stick into a good long trend unless you're chasing the JPY and you're in the wrong direction. But it's like, there are such great opportunities short term that we can take advantage of. And to be honest with you, for years now, we've been chasing off the small profits in the day and raking up some good returns without exposing ourselves to all of this fundamental news that's coming up. I know that Boris has different opinions about whether fundamentals lead or technicals lead. Me personally, I'm a technical trader, and I believe technicals lead and fundamentals fulfill the structure.
Sure.
But then on the other end, you could also say that fundamentals help build up the structure. So it's a two-way sort of solution to it. But at the moment right now, short-term opportunities is absolutely a good way to be able to trade the markets right now and profit.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that that's a fair take. You've seen this market kind of really change its tone in the last few weeks, whether it be the S&P, the currency world. The volatility is high, higher than it has been at least. And, if you're able to catch those swings, there's some great profits that can be made for sure. Speaking of volatility, Chris, you're the volatility guy. Chris, you do a ton of options trading. Of course, you come on the show regularly. I want to ask your take. Is it similar to Gary, how you're just conceptually approaching, because let's face it, there's been a paradigm shift from 2023, which was just this chugging upward trend on the S&P, the NASDAQ, et cetera, take your pick. The dollar was kind of back and forth last year. It was a much lower volatility year than what we've seen in the last, month. Kick back into gear as volatility is back, along with inflation fears, it seems like. So conceptually, high level, what's your approach to the markets right now?
Well, I think that today's FOMC will set the tone for the bigger dot plot and the bigger message delivered in June by the Fed. The fact that we're having a Fed meeting May 1st, as opposed to the third Wednesday of the month, this is going to be before we get additional inflation data for the month of April. And looking at the charts right here, this is my S&P on a 5-minute time frame. This is my opening bell range that I have from a 9:30 to 10:30 block off. You can see the price hasn't gone anywhere. So clearly the market is waiting, and it's going to be floodgates open. It could be, it could be a single direction type day, like we've typically see with FOMC. It's a lot of noise and a lot of volatility. So, it's going to be really interesting how Gary and I position for this. I'm sure that he's been thinking about it all week, as have I. So, I mean, we definitely want to have a plan to carve out some profits. I know that our deadline is end of day Friday. But for me, I've got some earnings plays this week. There's over 900 companies reporting earnings, so I have some plays that I've already taken profits on. I have plays that I've running until next Friday, not this Friday, so I don't have to, isolate my window so badly as far as time goes. But realistically, this is what I'm talking about. So the day right here, we have a high around 502, we have a low around 500. That's a $2 range, and we're looking at about an average of $6. Now, that means that in some way, shape, or form today, I'm looking at price to go probably another $4 lower or another $4 higher. Now, I truly don't know what direction. The trade that I have going on right now, that's just an intraday trade on the SPY, is I have a 501 long, I have a 500 long, and this is a long strangle. That's an options play where if price goes up or price goes down intraday, if I get a $4 move here or a $4 move here, I can turn that position into profit. I'm hoping that we have more than just a $4 move, and instead of just a $6 top or bottom, I'd like to see a $7 or $8 move from high to low today. that would give me opportunity to make a little bit more profit. But I paid about $3.40 for the trade. If it goes $4, I can still get 50 cents to 60 cents out of the trade. If all of a sudden we get a $7 or $8 move today, then I take a $3.50 debit, turn it into $4.50, $5.50, and make a few bucks today. So that's at least short term. We got a lot of trading ahead. And but you can just see, like, the market is clearly waiting. One thing I thought's interesting that we could chew on for a little bit here, fellas, is I think that, Powell has been very calculated with all of his messaging. We saw a big shift this week in the CME watch tool. So the Fed watch tool, the rate cut probability is now all the way out to November. And the market hasn't quite acknowledged that we might only see one cut this year or zero. And I think that today's message, if Powell's going to come out and just explicitly say it, I think the market can absorb a little bad news now for the stability and the ability to price out, like, okay, when rate cuts do happen, maybe we can get a cleanse that's needed. I mean, Gary's a wave structure guy. And Gary, I'm curious if you see the same thing I do here. I'm looking for a 1, 2, 3 wave move on the indexes. So the SPX, the SPY, the NASDAQ, the Dow, I mean, all these indexes, to me, I'm looking for some type of ABC correction to pull back. But once we get into this area, way more bullish, moving forward. And I just think the market needs to have that cleanse. We need to check this rally that we've seen from October to now. And if we do that, I'm certainly more bullish going into retesting all-time highs than I am watching this market melt up, where we were at the beginning of the year, just wondering, is this market going to pull back? And here we are, 2-3 weeks of selling. And now we're wondering how low is it going to go and how bad it's going to get, when the reality is, I think it's just a technical correction that needs to play out.
Yeah. And if you go ahead and flip over to my chart, I can actually do it. I like the way you got your structure set up there, because on the Dow, I've got the Dow set up the same way. Got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and looking for a 4 correction move. So we're in a rising wedge, and this rising wedge means that there is going to be some downside action in the Dow. Actually, we had this conversation in my live session this morning, our Dow session this morning, and we were actually talking about the dollar as well as the Dow. How it's set up. This is how the Dow is set up here, looking for a rising wedge, but looking for a corrective move first, a dip first before the next rally. And then if you go into the actual dollar, because that's the big elephant in the room right now, based on what the Fed's going to be doing today, we look at this right here, and it's a slight bit of a bullish channel that's forming right here, also creating a pattern, and also created a 5-way structure. And what we've got here is the market actually giving us a false break on the top here and coming back into structure. And this means that we're going to see a downside move in the Dow, in the dollar index. And so when we look at this, it's like both of them seem to be pointing in the same direction in some way, both looking for a downside move. And so the question is, have we ever seen the Dow and the Dow and the dollar index move in the same direction? And yeah, we have. We have seen that happen before. So it's really tough to be able to define what the breakout's going to be in today's. But coming back to your question about whether the Fed's going to cut interest rates in this year, 1 or 0, I think I'm going to lean more towards 0. I think there's going to be conversation about, hey, there's this possibility, but I don't think it's going to happen. There's just, as you mentioned, Nick, in your show, that there's a really bottoming out of the inflation numbers. And with the inflation numbers bottoming out, they cannot really go ahead and start cutting interest rates. It's going to boost the inflation back up again. So what they're going to do is they're going to hint at possible cuts, but they're not going to do that. And then what they're going to do is they're going to try and stand aside from raising interest rates, because it's going to put more pressure on the banking sector. And we know what happened last year when the interest rates were hiked so high and they were buying bonds at 2%. I mean, there was a completely, I don't know how they even got themselves into. How does banks get themselves into that? Unless, of course, they were pressurized by the central banks, which I think it was the case, and that's why we're in this mess that we're in. So it's a lot of everything that has to be considered, but I don't think we're going to see some interest rate cuts or hikes very, very soon.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting next couple hours here, because, again, we're going to get some guidance from the Fed. As you mentioned, Gary, one thing you can say for sure is that they're going to, Jerome Powell specifically, is going to be complacent to both sides, right? Whether you think rate cuts are coming or not, he's going to say something. And usually you can walk away from a Fed meeting and everybody gets something that they wanted to hear. They say, we don't want to see the jobs market, fall apart, and we don't want to see inflation keep running. So it can be a little bit frustrating, but you guys broke down some technicals there. And Gary, I know you're a very technical trader. We've had many, and one thing I will say, the luxury here for me is that I've had a lot of chart time with both of you guys over the years. And so I know your styles. I know, for Chris, you are directional, but you're also very attuned into the volatility of where things are at, and how likely is a big move or how likely is it not a big move. I know that's something we've discussed. And Gary, I know you're very good with your technicals, your directional biases, and scaling in and out of positions. So let's get into some of that positioning, because now as we get closer, I mean, this is the theme of the day, guys. In the audience, we're going to do something really exciting. And also, for the sake of charity, we're going to be taking some extra risk here ahead of FOMC. We're going to be placing some trades. Let's go ahead and real quick, we're going to just do our challenge number 1. We're going to transition here, and I'm going to read that to you just after this. All right. So you saw the challenge. The challenge number 1 is to place a trade ahead of FOMC. Now, we're going to be placing a couple trades here today, but this is the broad scope challenge. So what I mean by this is that the first challenge here is that you can place a trade on whatever you'd like to trade. It can be an index. It can be a currency pair that you like. You can trade gold, whatever you are interested in trading here. Each one of you guys gets a chance to go through your trade. And again, you can place it. We're going to be using, really quick, I just should mention to the audience, the brokerages or the brokerage that these guys are going to be placing their trades on is Eightcap. Eightcap is the featured broker here today, and you can actually trade directly on TradingView with Eightcap. Big shout out to them. They've got an awesome integration directly with TradingView. So that's where all the trades are going to be placed. And of course, those profits, like we said at the beginning, any profits that do occur will be getting donated to the charity of these guys' selection. So let's go ahead and start with Gary, if you're good. Do you have a chart in mind that you are going to be placing a trade on here today?
I do.
All right.
And based on everything that's going on right now, I'm going to go to the crypto market and take a look and
Okay.
see at Ethereum, because I'm a big buyer on Ethereum. I'm a buy and hold trader. I don't spot trade this in and out. Or at least don't short-term trade this in and out, but I do buy and hold. And so I've been watching Ethereum because I'm looking to add new positions. I've already added in at 3,000. I've said that the market gets down to 2,800, buying in at 2,800, buying into 2,200. So those are the two levels that I'm looking to buy back in again, because we haven't even taken out the top, the high of this run back in 2021. So I think there's a lot more potential to the upside. We've seen Bitcoin actually break through the highs from 2021, but we haven't seen Ethereum, and a lot of the altcoins as well haven't really taken off as strongly as what Bitcoin has. So I think there's potential. Now, like as you said, Nick, I'm a structured trader. I like to look at structure. I like to look at see how the markets are setting up. We've got a falling wedge formula right here, also known as a wolf wave pattern that's actually hasn't broken through that support level yet. So I might be getting in way too soon, but this is the reason why, and I know these trade battles put you in a position where you're not 100% comfortable with the entry levels because you don't want to enter right now. We've been told to enter at market, so I'm going to have to enter at market. But normally what I would do is I'd wait for the market to go ahead and test the bottom of the structure right here. This would be a buy. And then if we get a false break again and the market comes back in again, this is another buy right here. And this is more aggressive, the first buy. The second buy is more the add-on. And then we're looking for price to go ahead and chase after this target up here at the top. So I would be expecting price, based on the structure we have now, look for price to get you about 3,600. Now, that's not going to happen overnight. We've got a few days, a couple of days before this turns. But I'm going to get, because of the news that's happening right here, I'm going to lean, and I know you're more bullish on the dollar. I'm actually the opposite. I think the market is already priced in this rally that we've seen based on what they anticipate to happen. Things could change with Powell today, and the market could go a little bit differently. But I'm looking at the structure on dollar index. I'm looking at other options, and I'm thinking that we're going to see a rally in Ethereum with the dollar weakness. So I am definitely a buyer. So I'm going to go ahead and throw in a buy on this.
Okay,
Let's do
perfect.
this.
Yeah, I wouldn't have. That wasn't my expectation from you, Gary. But that's what makes these trading battles fun. And also, as you mentioned, guys, the expiration on this trading battle is Friday, so we've only got a couple days here before this ends. And we're kind of having to be put on the spot to place trades. That's how these trading battles go. And remember, they are for fun and also for charity. So also, Gary, I happen to know you typically do tend to average down or average into a position. So is there any chance that, you get filled here today, and maybe if it, drops a little bit, a couple percentage points, would you add to the trade potentially before Friday, or are you thinking just one entry and where it goes, it goes?
Well, if we, I don't know, has the rules changed? Can we add in throughout the week?
I think
Yes.
so. If Chris is good with it,
Chris
if you're,
is.
Yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, I say, look, I say we can trade how we need to trade to generate the profits for charity by end of day Friday.
I
So I'm
like it.
good. I'm good with all of it.
I
All
agree
right.
with that.
Well, in that case, now because my good friend Chris is a gambler, we're going to do that. Then I'm going to go ahead and throw in a buy here. It looks like they're not going to give me more than that. I'm going to have to drop it down. 6. Let's go. Let me see if I can do 10. All right. So I'm going to do, I think I can do 50. Yeah. I'm going to do 50 right now. I'm going to get
Okay.
in right now. I am going to, however, buy back down again. So that everyone know, I am, however, going to be buying back down. If the market tests this, this is going to be a third buy right here. Now, this is the daily time frame. So which means I'm not going to have a chance for the market to go through here and come back up again. But if it does come back to test that, I'll buy back in again here. But we won't have time to go ahead and look for that false breakout. So hopefully I got it right, and it's just a support test. And again, it's only 3 days, so I'm not really looking for price to go all the way up here to retest this target here, because 3,600 would probably be the upside target on this right here, but we're not going to get to that point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy in these areas right here, and hopefully I get enough push between now and close Friday to be able to make some profit and win this competition and kick somebody's butt real solid.
Very, very good. Well, yeah. So, all right, Chris. So we've got Gary's first trade in, and he's been transparent about his game plan. He's going to look to add if the market does give him a bigger discount. Cool. He's locked in his first trade. He's long Ethereum. I guess it's up to Chris now. Chris, your turn. Trade any asset ahead of the Fed's interest rate decision here today. We've got about 36 minutes to go. So, what's your pick?
Well, first off, Gary on Ethereum, you just gave me a great idea. I'm looking at trading some Ethereum futures, and I'm going to get some positions in my portfolio here, so I can collect $550 over the next 30 days if price stays above 2,300, which I'm pretty sure, based on what you're showing there with that falling wedge and what I see in the charts, I think that's a pretty safe play for the next 30 days. And also, if I have price fall into that 2,300 level, there's potential that I can make a 10x profit on that as well. So I'm not going to place this for the trading battle because this is more options, but I'm going to do this in my broker platform. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little hedge approach on all this wild and crazy noise we have in the Japanese yen. So I know it's FOMC today. We have the Bank of Japan that has, gone off of negative interest rates to zero, essentially 0 to 0.10. We had this first intervention of 2024 that we saw, late 2022 as well. I still don't think this is the official turning of the tide in the unraveling of the carry trade. So what I'm looking at here is I'm going to hedge with some yen crosses. And so it's not just going to be one asset here, guys. It's going to be multiple. And so the screenshot that I have, this is the 2-week volatility of the yen crosses. This is the pound yen, the euro yen, the dollar yen, the Swiss yen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play some hedges here with the pound yen and the euro yen going opposite directions. I'm going to go pound yen long, euro yen short. And I'm going to see if I can have one winner outride the other one. And I'm going to go dollar yen. I'm going to take Gary's. So I still think dollar strength is going to prevail because the dollar is just the I keep saying the cleanest dirty shirt, or it's like the dirtiest. I don't know. It's like I don't think other central banks are going to keep the same pause and pushing out the rate. I think other central banks are more likely to cut rates sooner than the dollar and the Fed. So anyway, I'm going to hedge on the pound yen, euro yen, and I'm going to pair the dollar yen, Swiss yen. I'd like to go long Swiss yen, and I'll go short dollar yen. So
Okay.
I just think there's enough liquidity in both of those. You can see that the ATRs are somewhat similar. The pound yen is clearly higher volatility. So I'm going to go long on the pound yen, and I'll go short on the euro yen. So I'm going to find some levels here. Let me find a trade size that feels comfortable. I'm going to try to go after like 200 pips of profit for 100 pip stop loss, or 300 pips of profit for 150 pip stop loss. I'm looking for a 2-to-1 on these trades. So I'm going to get these entered in right now. So let's go pound yen. Let's go long here. So trade, and these are going to be market orders. I'm going to look at so if we're at 196.76, if I did a take profit, let's go pips. Let's go after about 250 pips. Let's go after, we'll try 250. And lot wise, I think with our leverage and 8-cap, we can go one standard lot there. That would be my risk. Is that about right?
To the right.
I got to put a stop loss in. So 250. So I make about 1585 on the trade if I'm correct. If I cut off that pip stop loss around 125, I'm risking 792 to make 1585. That's long on the pound yen. So I'll try to make the trade size match where I'm looking at, I'm going to write this down, about 1600 to 792. So I can make these somewhat comparable. So I'm going to go long one lot on the pound yen, go 250 to 125. Let's go. So that's in. Now I'm going to go euro yen.
And while you place that, Chris, let me just give some context too to the audience. So Chris has a approach where he does a lot of options trading, and when we say he's trading volatility, for the new guys and girls in the audience, what that usually means is he's looking for, trying to call out whether or not the market is going to move a lot or the market is going to call out a little. And what Chris is essentially doing here is he's doing it not through options, but through placing inverse or opposite direction trades, both with tight stop losses but expanded potential take profits. And what you're saying there, when you're betting long and short, but you put higher risk to rewards, or higher rewards relative to small risks, you're basically betting that something's gonna move big on the yen in the next few days. So very interesting stuff there that Chris is putting together for us. He's showing us how even without options, he's still a volatility guy. He's showing, he's looking for moves in the yen. And I think that that's an interesting, approach as we get into what will likely be a very volatile period for that USD/JPY specifically, but all, yen crosses. So I like it a lot. So Gary, you're long Ethereum. Chris is looking to set up kind of a hedge on the yen. Hedge / looking for basically volatility to expand for him to make money in this situation. He wants something to move hard in one direction, so the one trade takes a small loss and the other one captures a big win. Is that a fair kind of overview of what you're doing, Chris?
That's fair. I'm just going to make sure I get the proper. So I'm doing a 250 pip take profit for a 125 stop. So it's roughly 1600 for profit, 800 for risk, 2-to-1. And directions, again, if we want to specify, I'm going long the Swiss yen, short the dollar yen, long the pound yen, short the euro yen. And those trades are all in. So that's my one asset, just those four right there. And it's a hedge. And so hopefully the idea is one winner, one loser, cut the losers off quickly, let the winners run. And let's see what we end up with in the morning. So in the next 24 hours, hopefully overnight, we see some drama in the yen. If it goes nowhere, obviously I can assess the P&L overall, but I know we're also going to look at trading some stocks, and I'm also going to hedge on that too, Gary.
Yep, we're about to do our second comparison. Real quick before we do that, Chris, can you just show us your trades list and your trade panel there down below on your trading view, just so we could see the overview. So there we go. We got long Swiss yen, short dollar yen, short euro yen, long pound yen. Now, just to draw this up, also the losing scenario, you might say, well, why don't you just always do this? The losing scenario would be if the yen didn't move a whole lot and it just chopped back and forth. All trades could hit stop loss without ever hitting a take profit. But again, Chris is making a volatility-based decision to say yen's likely to move big. One of these will hit, one of these will take a small loss. Cool. Very cool. We're up to date on everything. We've got our next challenge here. So real quick, let's roll the transition and jump into challenge number 2. So challenge number 2 is a sensitive topic right now because all stocks seem to be selling off recently. Challenge number 2 is we're going to be trading any US stock, whether you're a Tesla fangirl or whether you love Amazon or what you love NEO. Well, you can't trade NEO. It's got to be a US stock specifically. So let's go ahead and jump into this. We had Gary go first last time. Real quick, Chris, do you have a stock pick for us? And let me also clarify: does it have to be a buy, or can you short a stock?
I think we can do either one because my
Okay,
plan was to do both. I wanted to short one, buy one, and try to
okay.
play a hedge. So I was actually surprised. This is
Right back
interesting.
to the volatility, Chris. Let's
Yeah,
do
That's
it.
yeah.
right.
And
That's right. And NVDA. So we all know Nvidia. It's been one of the bigger storage stocks this year. So if I go to, I'll just go to this feed here for Nvidia. Have some analysis on here. So I'm looking at the weekly trading range, and we're looking at about $90 on Nvidia. One thing that was surprising is if you get into the semiconductor space, SMCI had earnings this week. It's down quite a bit. If I go into my semiconductor watch list here, let me go to semiconductors, drag this over here. These are some of the bigger plays. Day-to-day volatility, IV rank. If I go to, what's supposed to move the most, we have right now, where's my NVIDIA at? Do I have two? Let's go symbol.
down there.
So I've got an 82.5 on the IV rank, and then SMCI. I guess I need to add that in here. I'm just curious what SMCI is. So I'll add that in there. All right. So that's a 40 rank. Interesting. So there's actually more implied volatility on NVIDIA. But yet, because we had earnings on SMCI this week, I think that's why we jumped up and we kind of changed the calculation on the week. Because so far for the week, we've had a high of 910 and a low of 700. We've already moved $210 on the week. This might have just spoiled my plan here. My initial idea was to consider going long on Nvidia and short on SMCI to continue with this downtrend. But now that I see that, man, this is a tough one. I feel like I should trade something a little bit less volatile. So Nvidia 821. Fudge it. I'll stick with the plan.
Does Eightcap have SMCI? Double check that they've
Let
got
me
that as a
check and see if they have the feed here. So
CFD.
I'll go here. Yep, they should have it. SMCI. Let's go 8cap.
No,
They do not.
May
Nuts.
not
All
be
right.
an
So we have
option for you.
all right, NVDA. All right. So we've got NVIDIA
You might
here.
have AMD as well.
I was going to say AMD is another one I could do. There's MU as well. It's just a different stock price, but we have Micron in here, so I can play the semiconductor space.
Mhm.
I think I'll do this. I'll go similar styles. Micron, AMD. I'll look at both of those instead of playing Nvidia. So AMD just had earnings. I will look to see on the weekly chart here. We've had a decent pullback on AMD. Let's see here. All right, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take a buy trade on AMD, and I'm gonna take a sell trade. NVIDIA just has way more volatility. Micron would be like half the trading range. All right, so I'll go long on AMD, but I will go short on Micron if I can. I don't know if I can go short, but let's find out. So create new order. If I do a market sell, and then I'll check my trade size here. If I did a 0.10. See if I set a price target here. If we get to, let's say, $100. Okay, so I could probably do a lot. I could do one standard lot here. All right, so I'll probably do half a lot on the stocks, maybe one standard lot. But let me go. Let's talk long first. So AMD, we just had earnings here. And the nice thing is Nick, last time you and I did the battle, it was during FOMC. So
Mhm.
actually having the breather beforehand, we can prep for an hour and not be like, everything's going wild and the charts are all over the place. This is a little bit more calm.
Calm before
So
the storm. Whatever you place
exactly.
trades on will be moving big time shortly after,
Yep.
which is fun.
So we had solid earnings. At
Yeah.
least EPS was positive. They had a miss on revenue. Still, I mean, revenue trends. I mean, 5.47 billion compared to 6. I mean, that was a downside revenue on AMD, which is kind of interesting. 5.86, and then down to 5.47. mean, it looks like I just think they over forecasted, to be honest. Like this I don't know. This is kind of wild and crazy. And where are we coming back? We just pulled back on the earnings play to 618 pullback level on this big swing. So I'm going to take a chance, go long AMD. That'll be my play. So I'm going to take a chance right here. There's my create order market. If I go, I'm going to go half a lot here and see what that looks like. So if we put a trade on, take profit, I'll just see if we come back into the gap here. So 151 to 155. Let me do a take profit and price. Let me see if we can fill a gap at 158. I don't know. That'd be my wishful thinking, but if I do a half a lot there, so my risk on the trade, I'm not going to put a stop loss in right now. I'm just going to kind of evaluate. If we drop another, $9 or $10, let's go down to 144 or 134 price. So I'm comfortable risking about $500 on this trade. Trying to go after more in profit. So I think that's fair. I'll do a half a lot on AMD, and then I'm going to do the opposite on Micron and see if I can, walk away with some net profit. So, all right, I'm going to take this trade. This is long AMD at market, so 144.80 fill. I might as well make this a little bit larger then if I can, somehow walk away with a couple extra dollars to the upside. And then downside, I'm just going to evaluate. I'm not going to put a stop loss in, but I will be checking and watching closely. So that might bite me in the butt. We'll find out. But I'm going to take off the stop loss from now and let this thing ride. If we go up and fill the gap, that's 158. I'm putting 160 in, but I'll take profit on that on my own. So I'm going to buy AMD after a earnings play and evaluate that from the week. And then I will pair that with Micron, which for Eightcap does have a feed here. There's my Micron. And for Micron, I'm going to continue to look for a short. So I'll sell Micron, try to get down to this level at 105. And this will be another 0.5. This one's going to be a market sell, take profit. If we get down to, if we make a fresh low at 104. Oops. If we make a, I guess I'm in the trade. Let's see if I can edit that one.
No, it's in, buddy. It's in.
I know. Let me go to the trading tab here and try to modify this one. So AMD, Micron. All right, let me modify this. So here we go. So take profit. I'm going to take this down to 100. There we go. That way my stop or my take profit's at 100. That'd be a fresh level. That'd be a gap fill. Maybe 97.50. I'll change that again. 97.50. So we'll go 97.
Okay. So long AMD, short Micron. Those are your combo trades here. More pairs trading with stock. Awesome. Very cool. All right, Gary, you're up. We got.
Are you sure? Count. Because we got still 900. Stocks that maybe Chris can look into. Chris, what about another 900?
I mean, I'll happily scan 7,000 if you want me to.
I know you would. All right. Sorry, Nick, you were saying?
I was just saying, Gary, you've got you're up. Which stock and also long or short? I mean, right now the market's super volatile. If you do get something that scares the market, the short side could be very sweet. But same thing for the upside. If you buy into something higher risk and it has a good day, as you think, if you do think that the dollar's coming down, that would suggest perhaps some better times ahead for higher beta names, tech stocks, things like that. Do you have a stock in mind today?
Yes, I am going to look at Tesla. Now I've got a question about the orders, right? Are we allowed to close out positions and then re-enter on the same one, not new, but close out, take profit, and then re-enter the game when the market's lower in the next couple of days? Is that something?
Yes. Yep. That's fair game. Any trades you want to do ahead of Friday's close, which is when the winner will be announced.
All right, cool. Because I'm up 600. I was up about almost 900 already on my Ethereum trade. So I'm going to hold on to that. I'm probably going to close out on that. But let's go back to the stock trade right here. So the stock trade, I'm going to possibly go ahead and enter. I'm looking at the market filling the gap. What I like about it is the structure again. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Down here, we had a false breakout. Market came back into the structure. We didn't get a retest of that, but it has broken up the new highs. So we're really starting to trend back up again. I think Tesla's going to start seeing some higher highs. There is some downside potential. So I am going to look to add. We've had 2 gaps right here in the move over the last 48 hours. So there's going to be potentially a retest of that level, but I think it's time to go ahead and start getting in right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and buy with the let's go with let's see if I've got enough margin here. I think I do. Yeah, I'm gonna go with a buy with Tesla here, and I am gonna buy in at a lower rate as well. Price rejected, margin insufficient. Okay, sorry, I did over leverage on the previous trade. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have to go with 1 for now, and I'll add on to this one a little later. There it is. Oh, still not. Okay, so that's what I thought. Let's go back here. Let's see if I can cash out a little bit on this. Don't want to cash out too much on this, but I'm going to go ahead and let's go ahead and take some profit on this.
So taking some profit on Ethereum, make room for Tesla.
Yep.
All right.
Make some room on Tesla. Now, let me see if I do a quantity change here. Should be able to protect position. Let's see here. No, that's not the one that's... Oh, modify. Let's see here. I believe it is... let me see if I close partial order. That's what it is. That's what I was looking for.
There you go.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So I'm going to close out... actually, I'm going to close out 15. So I'm going to go with 20, 15. Yeah, I'm going to go with 15. Actually, go with 25. My bad. I need more margin. So I'm going to close out with 25 on that.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see if it did close out.
Yep. Now you're down to 25.
Perfect.
Got it.
All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with the Tesla. Let's go back with Tesla here. And let's do a buy on Tesla. And I'm going to do, let's see if I can get in, if it's going to give me 4. I want to go in with 4. Nope, still too much. Let's go with the half that equity. Yep.
There you go. You're in.
All right, good. So that'll give me an opportunity. I think if Tesla does come back down south, I'm going to make some more profit on Ethereum. I'll go ahead and cash on Ethereum, and I'll get back on Tesla once again when it drops back down a little bit, a little lower. But I think we should get a little push. Now, this is going to really be my sort of trade for the news coming out because I think we're going to get some volatility at 2 o'clock. And then depending on that, we'll either be a re-entry or be taking profit up here at the top.
All right. Very cool. So we got little bit of semiconductors, we got Tesla, crypto, we got currencies, we got a little bit of everything here in the audience. I do want to just mention here before we get into challenge number 3, just a quick shout out to the sponsor, the head honcho of this event. It is the Trading Battle. If you've never been a part of one of these things or seen one of these things before, Gary and Chris are currently going head to head. Their P&Ls are being shown on the screen, and this profit, wherever it goes, or whoever wins the most profit, will be going to charity. We're streaming right now to my own YouTube channel, but also to the Trading Battle. I want to ask you guys a favor. If you're enjoying the show, let's help the Trading Battle get some more exposure on the internet. What they're doing is one of the coolest things for the trading community that I've seen in my years on YouTube. They're sponsoring traders to go head to head. It's for charity, tons of free education. They're bringing traders from all around the world. Let me just ask you guys to do us a quick favor. All of us here, Gary, I know, and Chris, you guys are big fans of the Trading Battle, what they're doing as well. Help us out. Make sure, go subscribe to the Trading Battle. Let's help get their YouTube channel some more exposure big time. So with that said, real quick, we're going to do another transition, and we're right into challenge number 3 on the Trading Battle. Stick around. Here it comes. So this is a fun one. The Sabotage trade is a trading battle classic where essentially Gary and Chris will get the chance now to pick for each other an asset that they've got to place a trade on. So a quick example would be if I were to give Gary Apple and he has to take a long or a short position, he can choose whether he wants to go long or short, but I get to choose the asset. Now, in this case, these two are going to be choosing each other's. So we're going back to the same order now where it's Gary's turn to go first. So with that said, Chris, you select which asset Gary's placing a trade on. It can be anything that you can trade on Eightcap.
All right, Gary, I'm gonna throw Coinbase at you. You got to trade Coinbase on Eightcap. So Coinbase has earnings tomorrow after market close. So this will be in the window of when our trades close. So you gotta pick Pick an earnings play, pick a direction. I mean, in truth, I mean, it's a crypto related pair. I mean, the
Yep.
correlation between Bitcoin and Coinbase. So if you got a general direction on your crypto, then I'm sure Coinbase is going to follow along. But earnings, it's at least going to cause some movement, and that's what I'm going to get you to trade.
Yeah, well, thank you, Chris. This is actually really easy. You've made it really easy for me because we're at current support right now. Now, I would love it if you got your timing right a little bit there and got me down here below, but that's okay. I'll go ahead and buy up. It's a really simple decision for me right here. I'm gonna be buying it, and we probably said go up to this area right here. I'm gonna have to probably liquidate some more of my Ethereum here to get into that position. Yes, it is. I'm going to have to cash out on this one right here as well. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and free up some more margin. It's a pity because I'm going to make a crap load of money from this position, but I have to. I got aggressive on this position. So I'm going to go ahead and close out some more on this. Let's do 15 on that and then close out partial. So just taking some profits along the way. Again, it's short-term trading, right? This is what we're doing, right? The short-term trading. So now they'll give me some more opportunity here to buy in on this one. And I'm going to go ahead and actually double up on this because I really think this is going to be a good one. Let's see how much I can get in. So I'm always going to push the limitations here. Let's see if I can go into 20. I don't think I'm going to be able to buy in again on this one, but I think we should be good on. Nope, rejection. I love it. I love it when I get rejected. It feels like my wife.
We're full margin trading here today, guys. We are maxing out margin in the name of charity.
Yes, we are. We are. Look, insufficient. All right, so I'm going to go with 5. I think 5 would be the right number here, and it is not. So let's go with 2, and I think we're going to be good with 2. Still not. Am I able to trade this one? It is on the. There should be 1. Still nothing. All right. So
what's your use margin show, Gary? If you're in your trading panel.
Let's see how much margin I do have left.
Okay, you're running fairly tight with that use margin. You're at 8,600 right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to loosen up a little bit more here on the Ethereum to get into that position. But let me do that. Let's do 5. Let's drop that down. This is what the margin is that I'm getting. My equities up here to 11, so I'm cashing in nicely on that. All right, let's try that. Let's go ahead and see if I can get this one in. Let's pull it down here, and let's go back to. Oh, sorry, I flipped it over. It's going to be Coinbase, and it's going to be this one right here. And we said we're going to be buying on this one. Let's fucking get in with the. Let's go with 2. Now let go a little bit. No, so it's still going to be 1. Nope. Looks like I might have to cut it down to 0.5. There we go.
All right.
I'm in.
There we go. He's in. All right. So just a heads up too. Let's just take a pause here before we jump into Chris's turn to do the sabotage trade. Gary is very positioned here for volatility to the upside, specifically in terms of equities, right? Tesla, Coin, both of these higher risk names, and Ethereum, right? All of these things generally benefit based on what you started today's show out with, Gary, which is your thesis of, I think the dollar's baked in. I think we're going to see some relaxation on the rate cut side. And that, of course, would jump all the prices of all 3 of your positions. So you're very, very much positioned for it. I'm very curious to see if that does play out. Now I guess we got to flip the script. So Chris, you're going to be trading something that Gary puts upon you. So Gary, what's your sabotage trade for Chris?
You know what? I'm going to give Chris the Canadian Swiss. And I know it's something that he's liking, but I think it's at very critical levels.
Yeah.
And I think it's, especially over the next couple of days. And with the news coming out today, I think Chris is going to have a hard time with this pair. But I know he's very talented in picking the right directions. Let's see if he can do it this time around.
All right, so CAD Swiss. So this is one of my favorites. I've been in this trade for a while. I'm currently sitting in positions that are as low as 64.80 and lower. My overall position has been rock solid. I got filled on this recent pullback, and I'm long on the CAD Swiss in my personal portfolio towards 68.50, and I'm staying long in this thing medium to long term all the way to 71, 72. So I think what I'm seeing right now that I don't love is I'm seeing this potential indecision. I could see the CAD Swiss actually falling with some risk off trading. So Gary, will you give me a compromise and let me can stay consistent with this pairs trade stuff? So if I went short CAD Swiss, would you let me pair that with a long Aussie Swiss for charity?
Aussie, let me see Aussie Swiss. Let me just see the structure. Aussie Swiss.
They're both really similar, dude. They're both really similar.
Yeah, it's similar, but there is actually. Oh, that. You know what? Be honest with you. If I do that, that's really giving you a huge card, a get out of jail free card.
I know, but that's the point.
That's huge, buddy.
I mean,
You
I
know,
could
I'm
just
a
keep my
nice
mouth
guy,
shut and just
Chris.
trade it on the sidelines and be like, look, Gary sabotaged, but I still made money.
You know what?
So-
I'm gonna be the good guy, and I'm
Yeah,
gonna say go for it.
I figure when we're in a live session like this, you got to be nice and you got to
Yeah.
play to charity,
It's
right?
for charity, right?
Very
So
good.
I'm gonna be the
Very
nice
good.
guy. But
All right.
But after the session, you're down, man. You go down.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
So you're going to be going short CAD Swiss, long Aussie Swiss.
Yep. I'm going to
Got
go
it.
short CAD Swiss here.
Another interesting thing, just to note on the CAD pairs, oil, I believe, is falling
It's dropping
apart here
hard.
today.
Yep.
Took out support levels at, I believe, 81 for WTI. I mean, oil's on the downside. Maybe one thing to quote on that is we had some light PMI numbers today. Again, baked into the next hour is all the conversation about how the Fed sees the latest round of economic data, whether or not this inflation problem is going to come in. And that's why we're positioning this trading battle right where it is. These guys are placing trades for charity. Again, the profits will go to charity ahead of FOMC. We've been getting their take on it as well as watching them place trades. So what better kind of content than live trading? So we're coming in just a few minutes out from finishing up the trading battle and now positioning into the big event. So again, Gary, you're exposed mostly for some softness from the Fed, some dovishness. Chris, you're just exposed for the Fed's got to do something exciting, and if they don't, nothing's going to move. So it'll be interesting. That's kind of a summary here of you guys' positioning. You can look how many orders Chris has got here on his screen. He's got a little bit of everything on there. And Gary, you're selective and specialized, I would say.
and massive trade sizes for Gary. I didn't know you went 20. Did you go 25 lots on Ethereum?
I went 50 first, my friend. This is come on. We can try to make money here.
Yeah, I know.
I like the way Chris has actually broken it down, and that's pretty much from a conservative, not really knowing exactly, and we don't really know. News is always going to surprise us in some way, right? But this is a good exercise to show traders that sometimes you have to hedge sort of your positions, and a lot of our trading that I do as well. We look at multiple currency pairs and specifically like New Zealand CAD, Aussie CAD. And sometimes we be long Aussie CAD, but short New Zealand CAD. And it's also to play the hedge, especially if you're picking up a lot of movement in the Aussie New Zealand CAD and the Aussie CAD. We would then go ahead and try and position ourselves in the opposite direction on the New Zealand CAD, just to be able to pick up some profits on the other way around. So it's really important to know that trading this market doesn't necessarily have to be black and white. It's got a little bit of different strategies around a strategy, and it's good to have.
Yep. No, exactly right. And again, just spending time with you, Gary, over the years, I know you oftentimes will trade both with a bigger term trend as well as counter trend in the meantime. Gary, while Chris sorts out his orders and gets all set up, I have a question for you from the audience. Gold thoughts. We're getting so many people who are, of course, curious as always. I mean, all three of us spend probably half of our time just answering the question, what's up with gold? But I'm just curious, Gary, your thoughts on gold right now. I mean, again, if you do get softness from the Fed, that could help out the story for gold going higher. But is it overdone? And is this starting, to look like it has more room to pull back? What's the bigger term picture here for you?
Yeah. Now, gold and dollars has also been. We've seen the sort of similar rallies, but then gold's continued while the dollar corrected itself a little bit. I've spoken about this a lot of times. In fact, your session too, we've spoken about gold. And I love the way gold is set up structurally, because structurally it should correct itself. Now the problem is here is that we have an internal structure, and this internal structure is going to create a little bit of support right here where it's trading. In fact, if I go ahead and pull up my FIPS on this, you'll probably see right about here is, oh, it's just slightly higher. So we got a good level of support right here where the market's now trading back below. Now, this is a good sign for possible further downside moves. So what I'll be looking for is, does price stay above 2,332? If it does, we could go to the next sort of target, and that I'm going to look for internal structure on that. And that would mean that gold would go all the way up here to around about, we're looking at 2,500. Now, I know there's a big following that's been trading gold, and I've said, I'm more of a buy and a hold gold, physical gold, than I am spot trading it. But the gold price right now has potential to go up to 2,500. I'm waiting for gold to come down lower. I'm not a buyer in gold at this level. I'm looking for gold to come down to around about 2001, 2002, around that area. And then I would be a super big buyer in gold, because I see upside potential to 2,500.
Well, Gary, I have to give a testament to yourself from one of the times that we spoke previously. We spoke before this recent huge run in gold, and I remember you specifically saying that a return back to somewhere in that high 1800s to 1900s could be a point to load up. And sure enough, it came right down. And I remember when you said that, I was like, I don't know, gold looks like it wants to tap against 2000. And we were on the same page where we thought gold would go higher, but you made the point that you wouldn't be surprised if it gave you one more chance. So perhaps we see that one more chance again for gold. It does typically have these big cycles, and then they, much bigger than I even, ever expect them to. The big swings high and then the big pullbacks. But real quick, guys, I want to also just follow up on where we are at here as we are coming to the end of our battle here, where we've set up everything. Gary, you've got the screen really quick. Can you just give us a trade panel update here, just so we can see all of your current positions as we kind of finish up here? So you've got your 3 trades. You've got Coinbase, you've got Tesla, and you've got Ethereum, all long. He's the risk on guy today, guys. He's looking for the Fed to be accommodative. We'll see if that can play out here today. And again, very, very margined here, but it's for a good reason. We're trading for charity. So awesome, Gary. Chris, you're up in terms of current positionings. I know you've got a little bit more here. You've got 9 positions open. You're long the Aussie Swiss. You're short the CAD Swiss. Again, you're long Bitcoin. That's a new one. Did you just go long Bitcoin?
In there.
Oh, you snuck in a Bitcoin long when we weren't looking.
What?
Yep.
No, that's awesome. Short MU, long AUD. Is that
AMD.
No?
Yep. Advanced Micro Devices. Yep.
Oh, okay.
AMD.
So
that was the pairs trade with the semiconductors, and then Swiss yen, dollar yen are paired, euro yen, pound yen paired. Now my trades are very much in line with what's going to happen in a minute. So over the next hour, my panel here is going to be making all sorts of noise and ups and downs, and I'll be watching red and green all over the place. So I know that in the next 24 hours, there's going to be a lot of trades for me to manage, hopefully setting a, 2-to-1 stop, 2-to-1 reward to risk, or 1.5-to-1, things like that. I guess when those limits filled, which knows my profits will be larger. So I am playing volatility with a lot of these pairs trades. And so I know I'm putting myself in potential harm's way for the whipsaws, but I'm trying to keep it out of the way enough that we're not getting stopped out in the short term, but rather letting prices run for the next couple of days.
Yep. And guys, we are, just as we are speaking, we're coming about 10 seconds here now. Chandler, not to jump scare you, but can you give us a breaking news as we come in very close to the event? We'll run a breaking news. Maybe. Can we? We can always trust Chandler to deliver. He's got all the media stuff. So we've got 2 o'clock just hit. Let's see how markets are reacting, of course, to the Fed funds decision. I assume it just came out as expected, and no surprises there. But remember, 2 o'clock is the number that comes out, the interest rate. But the bigger news and where things will move. So we got 5.5%, by the way, guys. So 5.5 came out as expected in terms of the Fed funds rate. The bigger movement will happen at 2:30, which is in about 30 minutes here. When that happens, you're going to hear from Jerome Powell. It's all about the forward-looking commentary from him. So again, just to reiterate, Gary is positioned mostly risk on. He's thinking, rate cuts could still be somewhere coming this year. I think in the market is now, kind of starting to even think no rate cuts are coming. So if you get one or two or whatever possibility, Gary's positions will fly. Coinbase, Tesla, Ethereum. At the same time, Chris is betting on volatility. He's looking for big movements here this afternoon, in which case, his hedge positions could be made to be very interesting. That's going to do it for the show here in terms of the trading battle. But before we end and before we outro, again, let me just give you some rule outlines here for the trading battle going forward. Friday is the last day. So at the end of Friday, these guys' positions, whoever has the most P&L or, God forbid, the least losses, will be crowned the winner of the trading battle here. This is trading battle number 6. I just want to say this is a for charity event that is set up and created by the trading battle. They've asked me to host, and these guys have been kind enough to come on with their time and do some trading for charity. I just want to say, as we close this up, do us all a quick favor. We've got a link that we're going to drop here directly to the Trading Battles YouTube channel, where we are streaming this to live as well. If you're watching on my channel, you're watching on the A1 Trading YouTube channel, you're watching anywhere else, do us a quick favor. Go subscribe to the Trading Battle. Support what they're doing here. This is trading for charity. Come on, help us out. One sub each would just help us out tremendously in making sure that these continue and continue to bring trading talent from all over the world like Gary and Chris. Before we close out, Gary, you've got a YouTube channel. What's the best way for people to find out more from you if they want to learn more about what you do or find out more about your style?
Yeah. So yes, we do have a YouTube channel, tradersnetworkclub.com. Traders Network Club. But also we've got a website, tradersnetworkclub.com. And basically the best way to get a hold of us is there. You can see the website down below, tradersnetworkclub.com. Go to that website. We have online support if you need to. You can send an email to our support at tradersnetworkclub.com as well. And we have a variety of different products. Just as you've seen today, we do some short-term trading, which is fantastic. We've got different strategies we use to be able to implement it. And we run a good trading service that helps traders be able to get started in this market. We know how difficult it is. Chris, Nick, you guys know. I know for sure, when I started, how tough it is to become profitable and to be able to put your foot in the right direction initially. The biggest thing that traders fear is fear of loss, right? And so we have to get over that. And how we teach them how to do that is how to properly manage their risk in trading so that they don't get upset or don't get to sort of like shell shocked when we have news announcements like this, because we should be able to trade through news announcements like that without fear in the market. And the only way to do that is to properly manage your risk. So go check out tradersnetworkclub.com.
Awesome. So tradersnetworkclub.com, best way to find Gary, and best way to connect with you, Chris. What's the, how can people find more information about what you do and about your trading style?
Yeah, I'm live quite a bit on YouTube, as well as joining the A1 trading team, Nick, a couple times a week. So best spot is just to catch me live on YouTube. And then once you're on with me, just ask to join my Discord channel. My Discord is Chris Pulver Trading, and that's the best place to find me directly. I also have links to some workshops that I do for small groups and individuals, also affiliate links to all the education, some robot strategies, trading rooms, things I run privately. That's all my Discord. So free group to join. And if you want the extra attention, the extra time, the extra, live trading and services and things like that, it's all available in one-stop shop with my Discord. That's Chris Pulver Trading. You can follow me on YouTube as well. You can catch me with Nick and the team at A1 Trading.
Absolutely. Chris Pulver on YouTube. Find him there. And again, a big shout out to Gary and Chris for joining me here today for Trading Battle number 6. Guys, we'll keep you updated with your P&Ls. Best of luck to you. And again, feel free before the end of the trading battle to close your positions or to add to them, whatever you want to do. Maybe sneak another Bitcoin buy in there, Chris.
That's right.
Chris.
I'm loading up 50 lots, Gary.
Yeah. You get a text later on today. Hey guys, I just went ahead and.
By the way, I do have to say that Michelle in the background did add another $5,000 to Gary's account just because he over margined today. So I want to make sure everyone knows that.
Little handicap. That's
Yeah.
okay.
I just
All
say,
good, all
you know
good.
what? When you run out of money, what do we say? Add more money, right?
Add more money. Yep. Deep
That's right.
pockets. Deep pockets.
That's right. So at the end of the Friday, whoever has the most profit, that profit will be generated and sent to charity, which is fantastic. And guys, thank you both for joining on the show here today. We'll let you go, and we'll speak back with you soon.
Fantastic.
Sounds
Thank
good.
you.
Thanks, Nick. Great
All right.
job.
See you guys.
Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.
All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for Trading Battle. Trading Battle number 6. Again, please do us a quick favor as we close out the Trading Battle portion of the show. We jump into now the press conference and prep for that. Show keeps rolling. We're not going anywhere. The show is continuing on as we go right into the big event here today. And we'll all have to keep in mind Chris and Gary's positions. And again, watch out for any sneaky Bitcoin buys from Chris. You never know when he's going to drop a lot on Bitcoin. Anyways, that was a lot of fun, guys. And I just want to ask you a quick favor again. As I mentioned earlier, make sure to go subscribe to the Trading Battle, show some love, show some support. I'm a huge fan of what they do over there. And now it's time to get back in. Where's my hat? Hold on. To pirate theme, because here comes Jerome Powell. He's coming in. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. We're going to pivot back into prepping for this. So just give me 1 second. We're going to